Hey everybody, so I logged into my YouTube account today and I seen that I had some new comments and I realized that I haven't done an update in a very long time. So I just wanted to let you guys know where things are with me and my mouth. And as you can tell, I'm still in braces. So I did my very first video almost exactly 2.5 years ago. At the end of the month, it'll be 2.5 years ago, where I started Invisalign. And the whole point of me getting Invisalign was to move a tooth, and the reason I needed to move that tooth because its roots were in the way, and I needed to move those roots so I could get an implant because I inherited a missing tooth. So I have a congenital missing tooth. So here I am 2.5 years later. I'm a lot older. I've gained some weight. I've gotten more gray hair. And today is actually my birthday. And I'm 37 and still in braces. So from what I've been told, my orthodontist says the end is near, but I watched a few of my old videos and I've said that several times in those old videos. So I've kind of depressed myself just watching those videos because I've said that so many times. But I will say that just watching those videos, I have noticed some significant differences in my teeth. Especially in the first video I posted of me and my braces. I noticed a huge just general tilt of my teeth, and I don't really notice that as much now as I did then. So just some updates. I have gone to my regular dentist, who I might get to do the implant when it's time, and he's done an x-ray to see how the tooth, the pesky tooth, is doing as far as movement. And he said there's almost enough space there. So if I were to stop with the braces soon, and that was probably 3 or 4 months ago. I think I went in February before the pandemic hit really hard. And he said we were almost there as far as space goes. So the regular braces were definitely working as far as moving the root, whereas the Invisalign was not doing that for me. And he also mentioned that it was enough space for a micro, I believe is what he called it, a micro implant. Basically the rod that they put into your gum is just a smaller diameter versus a regular size implant. And for the tooth that I'm missing, he said that would be fine to use a micro implant. If it was another location further back in your mouth, he wouldn't recommend a micro implant just because they're not as sturdy. Things that you need, strong teeth for, he wouldn't recommend a micro implant for that. But because it's in the front and I'm already used to babying it, if you will, not you really using it to bite down on stuff, he wouldn't have an issue putting a micro implant there. So that is good news. Right now I should be wearing rubber bands with my braces, and that is just to kind of close. I'm going to get close to you, so I apologize. It's just to close these gaps to make my bite, my top teeth and my bottom teeth meet perfectly. This side's pretty good. This side needs some work. And that's just something I forget to do. It's not like I refuse to do it. The other thing that you haven't seen since my last video is this screw they put into my gum. That's been in there a long time. It's called a TAD, spelled T-A-D. And you can YouTube it. There's tons of TADs on YouTube because I looked. But basically, the point of the TAD was, I don't use it right now. It's being unused right now. But what they would do is get basically not rubber bands per se, but chains, if you're familiar with braces. But they would tie like a chain from this tooth, which is the tooth that is a pain that refused to move. But they would tie a chain from like this wire between here or around this bracket to the tad and then back down again. And the point was to try to get that tooth to tilt. And the tad was just basically an anchor because it's screwed straight into the bone of my jaw. And the reason it's still there, even though it's not being used, because I've asked this question, doctor, can you please remove this tad? It's an eyesore. Every time I smile, people are like, you got something in your teeth. But he's like, well, what if we need to use it again? Then you're going to have to get it screwed back in there. So he just talked me into leaving it. So that's that. Somebody asked me on one of the braces video, what are they using for a fake tooth and with your braces? And it literally is anything they would use for a fake tooth. So like if you had a removable or a flipper, they just take one of those teeth. And I'm gonna get close to you, so if you see pimples because I'm having huge breakouts, just ignore it, okay? But basically it's a fake tooth, and the way it's attached is a bracket with the wire running through the bracket, and then just the color, whatever you call these colors, I don't know. And you can see, I mean, it's on a wire, so it's going to shift because it's not rated in. Now, when the tad wasn't there, this tooth was longer, and it looked better. But because the tad's there, they had to cut the tooth down a little bit so it didn't hit it. But unless you're unless you're my husband and you're really close to my teeth, you can't really tell that it's fake. Or at least that's what I hope. So here I am, 2.5 years later, second time in braces for my life. I did ask, if I got the implant and, you could tell something wasn't quite right. It wasn't all natural, and my teeth around it were just not perfect. Could I get the implant? I'm sorry, could I get Invisalign after the implant? And my orthodontist said, as long as I was still within my time limit. So when I signed up for my Invisalign, and this could be different depending on your contract with your orthodontist, but when I signed up for my Invisalign, I signed up for 5 years of it. So as long as I'm within that 5-year contract, I can get Invisalign anytime I want. So if one of my teeth just goes crooked for some reason in those first 5 years, from when I signed up to the end of those 5 years, I can get Invisalign. Of course, Invisalign is not going to move the implant. So the implant, wherever they put it, is going to be there because they screw it into the bone. That's why you get braces and do all this stuff before the implant, because you can't move the implant after it's in there unless they unscrew it and replace it. But I knew that. My question was just if the teeth around it, if there's too much space, if they made too much of a space, could we, close that space up with Invisalign? And he said yes. So that's a positive. So I just wanted to update you guys. 2.5 years in, again, I could have done this a lot sooner in my life, but I was too worried about the way I looked. And now I'm just almost 40 in braces. So, I get that question a lot, should I get braces and deal with this now, or should I just get a removable? And it's just something that you just have to decide on your own. Can you live with braces for a couple of years? Is it that big of a deal to you? Or is it a big of a deal to you to have something that you take in and out on a daily basis? So, everybody's different. I wish I would have done it sooner, honestly. But everybody's different. So I hope, and I say this every time, I hope to keep you updated, but who knows? You may not see me again until I have an implant. But we'll see. Bye.